Hello, everybody. I'm Jen from Wine Antics. If you don't know me already, which some of you may or may not know, because we're moving out to a bigger audience now. We're very excited to be part of the Women's Broadcast Television Network. So, hello, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in here live on social media and then on the network. My name is Jen Nelson. I'm a certified wine lover, as I like to say. I have a few certifications behind my belt, both a UK-based one with the Wine and Spirits Educational Trust, and I've taken the course of the Certified Specialist of Wine. This is a live wine talk show at Wine Antics Live. We do this every week, and tonight we are talking about Valentine's Day wine and chocolate pairings. Tonight, I've gotten very bubbly and very pink with my drink of choice. It is the Ruffino Rosé, extra dry. Very excited. This is like my go-to Prosecco, and I'm excited that they now have it in rosé. I think it's time to bring up our special guest and my lovely, handsome, maybe even co-host. So we have our special guest today is Rob Frisch. And Rob, I would love it if you would take a moment and introduce yourself.
Well, hi, everyone. I am, yes, I write a blog called Odd Bacchus, which is about unusual wines and spirits. It's approaching its 6th anniversary this April, which I'm very proud of. And I'm even more proud that I just won this fantastic wine blogging award presented by Millesima, which is a Bordeaux distributor, and this jury selected me to be one of the finalists, and then I won the wine travel category, and so they're sending me to Bordeaux for a week in April, which is kind of amazing. And so I some people consider me to be something of a wine star, but I think of myself more as a black hole of booze.
Wow. Yeah. Good luck with that, Stub. So the next person to introduce themselves is my favorite my favorite wine lover and co-host, Stub from Cork MV.
Well, how sweet, coming up on Valentine's Day. Yes, I'm Stub from CorkMV.com. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a writer, copywriter, TV contributor. I do a monthly segment on TV shows. I do a monthly wine segment in a local magazine in Southwest Virginia. And I'm going to jump in and say what I'm drinking. I think, Rob, you forgot that. So we're going to have to catch up with you when we get back to you, what you're actually drinking now. So what I'm drinking is very odd tonight, but it is Valentine's Day. So we want to get into the mood, right? We want to get in the mood to hang out with our lovers. So I'm drinking a sparkling wine. It is a dry rosé out of Michigan, the state of Michigan, and it is called, if you can read, Sex.
Perfect. I guess that's at least two of us that are enjoying a little bubbly and a little something pink. It is Valentine's Day, isn't it? So we are talking today very specifically getting everybody in the mood for Valentine's Day with the most romantic pairing any of us can think of, and that's wine and chocolate. I'm going to kick off today's show with my first pairing, and I kind of take a different look at things, okay? My brand is Wine Antics, and I like to look at the things of what happens when sips happen. And sometimes when life happens, you go to Target, you go to the grocery store on the last day or on Valentine's Day, and you're looking for that last minute gift, okay? I went into Target, and I found this very delectable pairing of the layer cake Malbec and a chocolate rose. I picked the chocolate rose because, no lie, when I was there was a gentleman that was walking out with 6 of these. So I was like, there's the proof that somebody is going to be using this. So it's a red wine and a Malbec paired with that very waxy yet well-known milk chocolate rose.
Wait, so is it a rose
Yes.
made of chocolate?
Yes, you've never seen these?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I've never had one though. So but you eat them. I suppose I've seen that, but I always thought they were just sort of decorative. Like I never actually imagined. Does it have petals?
It's carved. It's like you know the Easter bunnies and stuff, the chocolate Easter
Oh.
bunnies. It's exactly like that and hollow in the center.
Yeah, if you try to peel the petals, Rob, I think you're going to get like the very top part of the petal off of there, but not the entire petal. So it's going to be like, she loves, well, no, it broke. So it just from the beginning, it's over. It's just
Oh, okay.
done. Yeah.
And like, can you fit the whole thing in your mouth, or do you have to sort of like put your tongue kind of in the petals?
Oh,
Or-
the whole rose? I
Oh.
think you can lick the inside of the petals and then just put it all in your mouth, bachelorette style.
Oh. All right, so that's good. That's because you want to look sexy while you're eating on Valentine's Day.
Of course you do.
Or if you let that rose go too long, you're definitely not going to get the sexy look. If you put it all in your mouth, it'll literally disintegrate into chocolate powder. Don't let that go too long.
There's probably a whole quarter of the internet devoted to exactly that fetish, Jen.
Probably.
Don't knock it.
Okay.
And what
Not
made you pick
knocking
up the Malbec?
What was that?
What made you pick up the Malbec as opposed to, a Merlot or something?
Well, thank you for asking that. It's actually it came to my mind. I was like, okay, well this looks romantic in the label. It looks like you're already connecting it with a dessert, and then I immediately thought, okay, you can have your cake and drink it too.
Oh,
Why not? It's a well-known brand as well. It's attractive in the label. It's nationally distributed. Red wine can seem a little bit sweet with a milk chocolate, or milk chocolate could be a little sweet by comparison, especially with that Malbec. But I enjoy it because it's fruit forward, and it's probably going to satisfy a wide range of palates.
nice. And you can get a pun out of it too. And what's sexier than puns?
Nothing, because you know what? My mind is the sexiest thing.
A punt, perhaps, Rob.
All right, before the puns take us away, Rob, I think you have the
Ooh.
next pairing, sir.
Oh, fantastic. Let's see. Yes. I decided to make one of my favorite desserts, which is port poached pears with a chocolate cinnamon sauce. And God, that picture really does make it look awful. It looks like a couple of kidneys and blood and poop. I apologize for the photo. Right? I mean, look at that. It looks better in real life, I promise. And it's very easy to make. Just if you can't get inexpensive ruby port, just take that crappy bottle of red wine someone brought to your house and you've never wanted to drink it, and just dump it in a pot, add a bunch of sugar, maybe add the whole bottle of wine, maybe like half a cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of sugar, poach the pears 40 minutes, and then in a double boiler, melt some cream and chocolate simultaneously. Add more cream than you think you need. That'll make the chocolate sauce. Ooh, and add some cinnamon. Cinnamon is key. This is a dessert I first had in Collioure in the southwest of France. It was so delicious, I cannot even tell you. And it tastes almost as good when you make it at home. Use Basque pears. They have very thin skin, so it's very easy to peel. Anyway, so when you make these pears, with poaching them in the port or in the sugared red wine, and you can gussy it up, you can add, orange peel to the wine as you poach, but just use the wine. Just keep it simple. Then the port, I recommend using a reserve port, which is a step up from ruby, or a late bottle vintage, which is yet another step up if you can find one reasonably. I was at Whole Foods and they had a reserve port for $20. Not too bad. Yes, that's the one, Warrior's Warrior. It was $20. And all you really need is a glass with this dessert. And what's great about it is that there's not really that much chocolate. It's mostly pear and the wine. It tastes super rich, but you're not having something really heavy. And then the port, which is very fruity, but very kind of big and spicy and tannic, it cuts right through the chocolate, and it's a beautiful pairing. It gets kind of bigger and spicier. And I think port is one of the sexiest wines you can drink. That always makes me feel like really good inside when I drink port. It is very satisfying at the end of a meal. And with this dish in particular, I think it goes absolutely beautifully.
I think you have Stub giggling in the background here.
You have Stub salivating a little bit, my friend. That was.
And I noticed a lot of recipes, they suggest just poaching the pears whole, but that takes longer. If you cut them in half, you can also core them.
Who would ever do that? Why would you poach a pear whole?
Well, it looks prettier when you set it on the plate.
No, I understand, but
the organ meats in blood.
Too much work. I don't love
It's
it.
a lot of work.
All right, boys, take it down from the pears. I know that we all care. All pears matter.
Sorry, we're pairing here, Jen.
Yeah,
we're pairing.
You're pairing. Stub, on that note, I think it's your turn for a pairing.
What is my first pairing? All right, so my first pairing is, Rob said port is the sexiest wine. I'm going to disagree with him slightly, and I hate disagreeing with the guest and a good friend, but I'm going to say the sexiest wine is the wine you're drinking at this moment. So for my first pairing, what I chose was chocolate-covered strawberries, because who doesn't love pairing chocolate-covered strawberries, feeding these to your lover? So I paired these with a pink rosé champagne. So I am drinking a rosé sparkling wine. It's not technically champagne, but I couldn't resist opening this sex label for our Valentine's Day show. And it is actually very good. I know nothing about the wine other than it's pink and beautiful, but I'm going to try this with the strawberry right here. Watch this. Yeah. My heart hurts, girl.
This might be getting awkward.
You take a rosé sparkling, you're gonna get some of these lighter strawberry type notes in there. I dip these in dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. So you get a little bit of that sting in there, or a little bit of the bitterness from the dark chocolate, I meant to say. But with the brightness of the fruit on a rosé sparkling, but more specifically champagne. And I know I've got a picture of rosé Tatinagé in here, and Tat is my go-to champagne all the time, all day, every day. I will drink Tat. Excellent pairing. And imagine feeding this to your partner, the strawberries, and then like doing the intertwined arm thing, sipping the champagne. Nice stuff right there. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Starting to sweat with sexual excitement. Oh.
Are you sure you're drinking bubbly right now and not something else? What's going on here?
I think that the rosé champagne, that's such a classic Valentine's Day choice.
Of course.
And you always feel special when you're drinking rosé champagne.
Right.
It's kind of pricey, which is good because then your beloved feels special.
Yeah.
That I think that puts them a little bit more in the mood.
I picked this immediately, and I didn't want it to feel like a cop out, but
yeah,
every time we're doing something special, we're opening a bottle of pink bubbly, and doing our thing. Like whatever that thing is. Yeah, if it's a less important thing, we're getting a bucket of fried chicken and open up a Blanc bubbly, because
right.
But yeah, you're doing something special. You need a little pink in the glass. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's absolutely right. It's festive, and
right.
It's not something you drink every day.
Exactly. Of course.
And it's so delicious. And with strawberries, that's such a smart idea to have the berries in there to go with the fruit in the wine. I think that'll be brilliant.
Exactly.
Well, so for everybody in the audience, you guys want these gentlemen as your Valentines. For my pairing, which we're going to move into, I've moved to the realistic version at my budget of the play on what you have, actually, Stub. So it is the Ruffino that I'm drinking right now. It's the Ruffino Rosé in that picture. So that's pink bubbly. It's, Italian sparkling wine, which Prosecco is, at a much more reasonable price point than pink champagne or rosé champagne, which is usually about $50. This is about $10 to $12. And then the Oreos, which are chocolate covered strawberry Oreos. And sometimes we just want to Netflix and chill on Valentine's Day. And this is the pairing for you. I also love, and but most of this is in jest. Most of this is what you can find in a grocery store, and you do what you can. Sometimes if you've forgotten, or there's other priorities, or there's a snowstorm that's happening on the East Coast right now. And I like that Oreos always brings out these unique flavors, and it's accessible, but yet they're special every once in a while. Like they have all different types. This one is a fun play on it, and maybe if you're a casual couple, you'll enjoy this fun little pairing. And I'm not gonna lie, this bubbly is pretty darn good, and at a price point where you can enjoy this like the rest of February. Just saying. So that's my pairing. I don't know. Where are you gonna go with that, Rob?
Yeah, no, I think that pairing is brilliant. And here's why. Because,
And here's why, madame.
yes, because, what kills romance more than pressure or trying to force it with fanciness and, here's the spectacular meal and this expensive wine, and now we better have sex and it better be amazing because it's Valentine's Day. And if it's not super romantic, it means you don't love me and this relationship is going to be over. No, screw that. It's ridiculous. My husband and I are going on Friday. We're going out to our favorite bar, our favorite pub for chicken fingers. That's what we're doing because we like a low-key Valentine's Day. So I think this is great. Keep it casual, low pressure. The romance is between the two of you, not, in something like not in the wine, not in the whatever. Make it special, the two of you. I think this is great.
But you know what? This pairing actually lets you like hold that through the rest of the month, because the Oreos are something seasonal or like around the month of February. So it's kind of unique and only happens a little bit. And then I haven't seen this rosé very often. And maybe you buy Ruffino, but right around February, you're like, let's do the rosé just so we can put that cherry on the cake of our romantic life.
Yeah, it's something a little unusual. So it's still special. It's not expensive, but it's a little unusual. So that makes it cool.
Yeah, I like it. And it's within this girl's budget. So yeah, and what did you think, Stub? How did you like my play on your champagne and luscious dirt?
Look, I like it. I will let this out now. Valentine's Day is the Ribbonized wedding anniversary. Everybody go, oh, I know, it's adorable. We are also sometimes happy to go grab some Chipotle and come home and open a bottle of champagne with it after the fact and see what happens. All right, I approve, Jen. I would love to hear Rob's second pairing now.
Very good.
Yes.
I paired actually with what I'm drinking right now, which you see I have this red stuff in this flute, which is unusual because it is a sparkling Shiraz from Australia. This is the Chook, which is apparently Australian for chicken. And sparkling Shiraz is not a super fashionable wine. I think you probably will never find it on a restaurant list, but I think it's super fun because it looks bonkers in your glass, and it tastes. I think it's really fun because, like this example, it's dry. It smells like really rich raspberries, maybe a little cough syrup, and then you taste it and there's lots of dark berries, but then there's tannins, and so it dries up in your mouth, which is a hoot. It's very unexpected, and a surprise, I think, is kind of sexy. And I chose to pair it with something very simple this time, some chocolate sorbet and raspberries. And I really like this dessert, well, for a number of reasons. First of all, if you happen to be lactose intolerant, this is dairy-free because it's sorbet. And or if you're vegan, this is it's again non-dairy, so it's a chocolatey dessert that you can also enjoy. And I really like it. This is a Talenti sorbetto that I got from Whole Foods, and the Chook sparkling Shiraz also from Whole Foods. It was on sale for $18. It's usually $20, and so not terribly expensive. And the sorbet, it has a kind of dryness to it. It's not overly sweet. So it's a very sort of elegant adult dessert. And then I think with the berries too, it goes really well with this Shiraz because they both have you sort of they both kind of start sweet but end up dry, and they complement each other in that way. And the chocolate kind of helps bring out the berries in the sparkling Shiraz too. So it's really delicious, but in this very sort of it's a little bit more esoteric, like a little more adult. And so I think that's really fun. And it's easy. Just scoop it in a bowl and plunk some raspberries on there, and it looks really pretty. That's all I did with that bowl that you see in the picture.
And you took a very, very beautiful shot there as well. I can't ignore the fact that you win the photography award for this show. How does a sparkling Shiraz taste?
It is so interesting. It's such a surprise because the mouthfeel is like a champagne. This particular one happens to be méthode champenoise, so it is made in the same method as a regular champagne. But it is a Shiraz. The fruit is the juice is aged in oak for 3 to 5 years in this case. And so there are the tannins, and so it's like really rich berries, but fizzy and kind of lemony. And then the tannins on the end drying your mouth out. So it's a very unusual, really fun drink.
Rob, you were explaining, I've had the sparkling Shiraz, or Shiraz, as our friends down under or in South Africa say, before. What I've found is when I pour it, it gets a little more fizzy and bubbly, though, than a lot of sparkling wines. So I want to ask you that. Like, did you have that experience with this wine? Because it doesn't, like, you get a head on it like a beer that an inexperienced bartender tapped too far from the tap. Did you get that experience with this?
Yeah,
And it just settled a bit, or
it did fizz up actually a little bit more than I expected. So yeah, maybe that is a characteristic of those.
I love the pairing, and I love that we have a guest on who actually said, hey, sparkling Shiraz, why not? Let's do this thing.
I also love your pairing for so many options. Number one, it is chocolate, but it's not a heavy dessert. We've talked about a lot of different heavy desserts. You picked the most light, if you're having a rich Valentine's Day meal, you've gone steak, you've gone seafood, lots of butters, lots of richness. This is the perfect palate ender. You're just a little fresh fruit, some chocolate sorbet to keep it very traditional, and then something bubbly to just give you a refreshing feel at the end of the meal. Perfect pairing.
That is such a good point, Jen, because when you're feeling really heavy, you're not going to want to have sex, to be honest. I mean, or at least I don't.
Cheers to you. You won't want sex. I love having you on, Rob. I really do. You just I just love it. Like, we're all thinking it. And that's what's hilarious. That's why you caught me. You caught me there for a minute. Because we're all thinking it. But we don't all say it. And then, Stub has the product demo right there. See?
Right?
Wow. Okay, Stub, before I start crying on camera right now.
I mean, the crazy thing is here, the two men on the show have basically alluded to how every woman feels during, for lack of a better term, cheeseburger week. That's why earlier this week when I was on doing TV appearance, I did a heavy rich meal and had to pair dessert with it for Valentine's Day. I went with a drink instead of food. So I love that because my last pairing for chocolate is red velvet cake. And I paired that with, once again, Rob, you and I are on the same, we're on a wavelength here. I paired it with Shiraz, a Columbia Valley Shiraz with the red velvet cake. The fruit there in the soil, you end up getting this, it's such an almost indescribable earthy and creamy that come together once you age the wine in oak for even a minimal amount of time. And up on the screen here is Fielding Hills, which is my absolute favorite Columbia Valley winery. They make amazing Shiraz, Cabs, blends, Merlots. If you think you don't like Merlot and you taste a Fielding Hills Merlot and don't like it, you send me an email and I will send you a refund for that bottle personally, because they will make you a believer in Merlot, because Merlots do not suck. Screw that guy who wrote a movie a couple of years ago. He didn't know what he was talking about. Merlots can be amazing.
Yeah, we all got comments for this because everybody
Sorry.
knows red velvet. I mean, who doesn't know a red velvet cake? And who doesn't think about that red, that denseness, that chocolate, that texture to complement a Valentine's Day dessert? And then I like, again, the Melbic that I picked, and the Shiraz, the bubbly Shiraz, and then the Syrah, all very fruit forward and very palate pleasing across the board, which you have to think about that. Whether you're in a new relationship or whether you're in an ongoing relationship, palates change. You may not know the person. So picking something that's smart, but very palate pleasing across the wider spectrum is always a good way to go for Valentine.
I made red velvet cakes last week. They were a little more dense than I wanted them to be, but they were still delicious and beautiful. So, what I'm saying is take your lover as you find them, because it's Valentine's Day and it's the day of love.
That is good advice. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful sentiment.
That deserves to be on a Hallmark.
It's going to be a little heavier. Sometimes, they're not going to be as light as you want them to be.
Right.
And we still love them.
I've been in the same boat. I mean, every 3 to 6 months, I'm in the same boat. I mean, come on. You think I'm not going to drop 10 pounds going into spring? I'm going to lose a couple of pounds once March hits.
All right.
This pairing sounds like magic, and I absolutely second everything you said about Merlot.
I'm gonna defer from having an opinion. I think this is like political stances. I'm just going to ride the fence. So I always like to end the show with some final thoughts. So I'd love to go around the horn, and I'm going to start with Rob. Any final thoughts for Valentine's Day, for wine and chocolate pairings? Anything, sir. Anything.
Absolutely. First of all, if you have restaurant reservations, you should cancel them because the restaurants are just out there to gouge you on Valentine's Day. If you don't have restaurant reservations, it's too late to make them in any case. So either way, cook at home, make yourselves a wonderful romantic meal, and just enjoy each other. And for goodness sake, don't put too much pressure on it. It's just Valentine's Day. There'll be another one next year, and everything's going to be okay no matter what happens.
Amen. Stub, final thoughts for you, sir.
I want to thank Rob for being on the show as always, again, for the second time, our second time guest. I want to thank him on that, but also for the great advice. It is just Valentine's Day, even though it's my personal anniversary. You're going to have another one next year. Don't put all the pressure on yourself. Enjoy your partner. Have a good night, and everything's great. Other than that, I want to once again extend apologies to Andrea Robinson for running out of time to have her on the show. And hopefully next time. And to all of you lovers out there, have a great, happy Valentine's Day.
Perfect. Thank you, Stub. And I will close. I want to absolutely echo Stub's sentiment. Thank you so much, Rob, for coming on. You are charming and delightful and so smart about wine and travel. We love you. We're proud of you in your trip to Bordeaux and your America's Viewer Choice Award on blogging and writing. And I'm going to put the link to his award-winning blog up in the chat here. I want to remind everybody to stick around because at the end of this, I'm going to drop the link for the after party and talk a little bit about the next week's show. Thank you again, Rob. We'll see you soon. Next week's show, we have Patrick T. Cooper. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I'm very excited to talk with him about fashion and wine. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the comments. I did see them. I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys have an amazing Valentine's Day.